society. I come out of the consulting background. That was after I had done one of the first entrepreneur businesses. I worked in a franchise operation doing taxes. But I spent a good part of my adult life working with small businesses, faith organizations, nonprofits, faith-based nonprofits, as well as community nonprofits, grassroots kind of organizers. And I started realizing that something wasn't fixing the problem. And so the mental game for me was, you like integrated system solution building, fix the problem of community. And this was early 2000s, well before sustainability was a buzzword. There was no tiny house on wheels and things like that, and started really looking at how we fix things and what it would take to actually create sustainable communities. I had to start defining that these are these life embracing, resilient communities, and on down that rabbit hole. And what I started realizing was how we do things like social service, how we run some of our nonprofits, how we run some of our faith communities, they weren't solving the problems. Because in the South, if that were solving the problem, the per capita number of churches is ridiculous. So if that was the solution, it'd be working. And so when I started working at this, I'm a numbers person, it was, can I figure out the formula? What things have to be working? Is it politics? I started dabbling in politics. Is it economics? Is it faith? And what I realized was, in trying to come up with this conceptual formula, was that if three pieces were working really well together, we could start seeing the change, and it would be like sprockets. When one starts turning, the others start turning, and the others start turning, and we could start building sustainable community. It was a specific formula that was ordered in a certain way. The first thing that I realized from my assessment of the social service field was that social service worked in a method of really behavior modification. You got a problem, we throw some water on the fire that you're trying to fight, and we just hope by magic that there's a transformation. Doesn't work that way. What I started realizing was there were some problems in how we've done social service over the past 50, 60 years. And so the formula that I started developing started first by saying the first thing that has to happen is we have to do an assessment of your values. And I've gotten involved in food and housing as two of some of the foundational pieces. If someone thinks it's my job to feed them and I feed them, I have just supported a value that's actually opposite of the value that I'm trying to see realized in my community. So I'm part of the problem if I'm feeding someone whose values haven't aligned with sustainability. And so what I started looking at was the first thing that we have to do and have to focus on is the value. We have to do sustainable value-based transformation. Start looking at how that happens. Who are the entities in our community that say it's their job to shape values? Well, I realized it's not political arena. Okay, scratch that out. It's not the legislative arena, because that is specifically behavior modification approach. I give you goodies to do something I want you to do, or I punish you for doing something that I don't want you to do. That's never sustainable. So I said, okay, check that off the list as not being a sustainable answer. What I found was that the faith community is a community in society that says our job is to deal with values and to do value transformation work. I started looking and realized that that wasn't being done very well. And it's not religious. You have to be this denomination, because part of the philosophy that I was looking at was, if it's going to be a solution, it's got to be a solution for most. There's always going to be the fringe outliers that the system's not going to work for, but the solution for most is where this coming paradigm is, where the shifting paradigm is going to. So it has to reflect what most looks like, and that's diversity. If it's a solution for Black people, it's not a solution. If it's a solution for white people, it's not a solution. If it's a solution for LGBTQA plus people, it's not a solution. It's got to reflect what nature looks like, and that's diverse. So I started looking at faith. How do we look at faith? And what really struck a chord with me as being a sustainable model was an interfaith model that says, there's got to be a common thread that holds this all together. And then you choose which faith path aligns best with you, what resonates best with you, what fits your mood, I don't know, culture, whatever. Have the music that you like, I don't care. But is there a common core? And in my pursuit of that, I ended up in seminary and started realizing that if we looked at that common core, the bridge that connects us all, there was this very small common core of transcendent values that was a thread weaving through all of our faith communities. We're here on purpose. You're an intentional part of this system. Finding your purpose and living that as fully as you can is the most important thing you can do. And in order to do that, you got to get rid of the garbage. You have to help the interfaith community of all kinds who already have an infrastructure in place do that job of value transformation better. The second piece is once value transformation work happens, social services, and that's helping people do things that they value to do but can't do on their own, becomes relevant. If you realize it's your job to feed yourself and you realize you can't do a good job, it's goodwill for us as a community. It's good investment for us as a community to assist you with doing that, because that little bit of effort that we give provides an exponential return on investment. And then the third piece that has to work together is economics. I come from a small business background where the economics of small business, local money circulating over and over and over and over in community builds a resilience in the community, but also builds a thriving community. And if those three are working together, I realize politics doesn't play as much a part because the people are being transformed, and those people become the people that are in political power and in legislative power and other places. If those three are working, we start seeing a change. The problem